April 18, 1943. Four boys searching for bird nests in Hagley Wood discover something horrifying inside a hollow wych elm, a human skull with teeth gritting back at them. Police recover a skeleton, a gold wedding ring, and taffeta fabric stuffed down the victim's throat. She'd been suffocated and placed in that tree while still warm before rigor mortis set in. But who was she?
6 months later, mysterious graffiti appears across the West Midlands in white chalk, too high for children to write. Who put Bella down the wych elm? The message spreads. Who put Lou Bella in the wych elm? Someone knows her name. Someone knows what happened. But police couldn't identify her, not from dental records, not from missing persons reports across 1,000 square miles, nothing.
Was Bella a German spy parachuted into wartime England, a victim of occult ritual sacrifice, a sex worker who vanished from Hagley Road, or a Dutch woman murdered by her own spy ring? The skeleton vanished from police custody in the 1970s, gone forever, along with any chance of DNA analysis. 82 years later, Britain's most haunting murder mystery remains unsolved. The graffiti still appears. Bella is still nameless. And the truth died with evidence lost to institutional negligence.
Welcome to Whispers of Crime.
Follow Whispers of Crime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and other podcast platforms for daily updates on every crime, and subscribe to our YouTube channel, Whispers of Crime.
Okay, so let's start at the very beginning of this. The discovery itself. It happens in a place called Hagley Wood in Worcestershire.
And the date is April 18th, 1943. You really have to place yourself in that time. Britain is deep in the Second World War.
Exactly. Rationing is biting hard. There's a constant threat of air raids, especially around Birmingham, which isn't far away. Life is tense.
So these four boys, Robert Hart, Thomas Willits, Bob Farmer, and Fred Payne, they weren't just out for a walk. They were trespassing.
Right. They were on the Hagley estate, which was private land owned by Lord Cobham, and they were looking for bird nests, which probably means they were poaching. Eggs were a valuable commodity.
So they're somewhere they shouldn't be, doing something they shouldn't be doing. They come across this one particular tree.
A very large, old wych elm. Locals apparently already had a name for it.
The wych elm.
A bit of folklore right from the start. So Bob Farmer, one of the boys, climbs up to get a better look into a hollow in the trunk.
And he doesn't find a bird's nest.
No. He sees something white, he pokes at it, and it moves, and he realizes it's a human skull with hair still attached and teeth.
I can't even imagine the terror for those kids.
And their first instinct wasn't to run to the police. It was to run away and keep quiet. They were terrified of getting in trouble for trespassing.
Which is completely understandable for a group of teenage boys in that era.
It is. But it meant the police didn't get called until the next day, April 19th. The youngest boy, Tommy Willits, he couldn't keep it in. He told his parents.
And that's when the official investigation finally kicks off.
Yes, and it's a serious response. You have detectives from Worcestershire County Police, the Birmingham Force, and, critically, the Home Office pathologist, Professor James Webster. He's the key figure here.
So Webster arrives at this gruesome scene. What do they actually manage to recover from inside that tree?
It's a tight space, but they pull out an almost complete skeleton. Along with the bones, there are a few artifacts. A single shoe.
Just one.
Just one. A blue crepe-soled shoe, size 5.5. They also find a cheap imitation gold wedding ring and fragments of her clothing.
What kind of clothing?
A mustard-colored skirt, a blue and yellow striped cardigan, and a piece of a peach taffeta underskirt. And that last piece is very important.
We'll come back to that, I'm sure. So from the skeleton, what could Professor Webster tell them about the victim?
He built a pretty clear profile. A female, about 5 feet tall. He estimated her age to be somewhere between 35 and 40.
Okay.
And he also found evidence, based on pelvic changes, suggesting she had given birth to at least one child.
So this wasn't a young, transient girl. This was a mother, a woman in her late 30s. Someone should have been missing her.
You'd think so. But the most identifying feature, the thing that should have unlocked the case, was her teeth.
What was so special about them?
They were very distinctive. Webster's report describes large, protruding upper incisors. Her front teeth stuck out, and her lower jaw was quite irregular. It was a memorable dental structure.
A dentist would have recognized it immediately.
Absolutely. Which brings us to the cause of death. This was clearly a homicide.
Right. How did Webster determine that?
He found a piece of that peach-colored taffeta fabric from her underskirt, wadded up and stuffed deep into the oral cavity of the skull.
So she was suffocated, gagged with her own clothing.
Yes, death by asphyxiation. Brutal and very personal.
Now, there's a detail that often gets sensationalized in this case. The missing hand.
Yes. The bones of her right hand weren't in the tree. They were found scattered about 100 yards away.
And this is where the occult theories really take flight, isn't it?
It is. People immediately jump to ritual sacrifice, some kind of dark magic. But Professor Webster, the forensic expert on the scene, had a much more mundane explanation.
Which was?
Animal predation, scavengers, foxes, badgers. Something dragged the hand away from the tree after death, and the bones were left behind. There were no signs of it being surgically cut off. It was just scavenged.
That's a crucial distinction. The science points one way and the folklore points another.
And Webster made one more absolutely critical deduction, this one about the killer. It's about the timing.
What did he figure out?
He concluded that the body was put into that tree while it was still warm, immediately after she was killed.
Before rigor mortis set in.
Exactly. A body stiffens within a few hours of death. Her 5-foot frame would have been impossible to maneuver into that tight, hollow space if she was stiff.
So the killer acted fast. What does that tell us?
It suggests one of two things. Either extreme panic or extreme planning.
Panicked and just found the first available hiding spot.
Or someone who knew that area, knew that specific tree, and knew it was the perfect natural coffin to hide a body. The efficiency of it is chilling.
So the police have a profile, a cause of death, even a rough timeline of the murder Webster estimated late 1941. But they have no name. How do you even start looking for someone in the middle of a world war?
It's an almost impossible task. I mean, think about the state of the country. People were moving everywhere. For war work, as refugees from the Blitz, even refugees from Europe, the whole population was in flux.
So a single person vanishing, that could just get lost in the noise.
Completely. The police did their due diligence. They sent her dental patterns out nationwide. They circulated descriptions of her clothes. They went through missing persons reports for 1,000 square miles around the Midlands.
And found nothing.
Not a single match. It's as if she never existed.
But the teeth. You said they were so distinctive. Why didn't that lead anywhere? Didn't people go to the dentist back then?
They did, but it wasn't like today. This was before the National Health Service. For a working-class person, which her cheap clothing suggests she was, dental care was a luxury. You'd go for an extraction, not a checkup.
So there might not have been any formal records, no charts, no x-rays to compare?
Exactly that. A local dentist might have remembered her face, but without a formal record to match to the police's plaster casts, that memory is useless in a nationwide search. It was a dead end.
The investigation stalls. The body is nameless. And then about 6 months later, the case takes a very public, very strange turn.
This is when the graffiti starts appearing, sometime in 1944. The first one is found in Birmingham, on a wall in Upper Dean Street.
And it says,
"Who put Bella down the Wych Elm?"
And just like that, the nameless victim has a name. Bella.
The name stuck. Even the police started using it. But what's really fascinating is that the graffiti kept appearing in different places.
And it wasn't kids, right?
No. The writing was always high up, in a consistent adult handwriting. This was someone with a purpose, someone who knew something.
Were they taunting the police? Or were they trying to get justice for her?
It's impossible to know the motive, but one variation in the graffiti is particularly telling.
Which is?
In some places, the name wasn't just Bella, it was Lou Bella.
Lou Bella. That's much more specific. It sounds like a real name, or at least a nickname.
It strongly suggests the writer knew her personally. This wasn't just a rumor they'd heard. This was someone with inside knowledge who, for whatever reason, couldn't or wouldn't go to the police directly.
So they used chalk on a wall as their voice.
A voice that has echoed for decades. The graffiti has reappeared sporadically ever since, most famously on the Wychbury obelisk, which is very close to the crime scene. It's kept the case alive when it might have otherwise been forgotten.
Don't forget to follow Whispers of Crime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and other podcast platforms for daily updates on every crime. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, Whispers of Crime. Like, share this episode with others who might have information about this case and help. Also, comment your suggestions below. Drop your positive review and rating.
Okay, so with the official investigation stalled and this mysterious graffiti stirring public interest, the theories start to multiply.
And this is where we get into the really wild speculation. Let's start with the one that's tied to the tree's name, the witchcraft theory.
This one gained a lot of traction, thanks in large part to an anthropologist named Margaret Murray. In 1945, she published her analysis of the case.
And she was a serious academic, right? Not just some fringe theorist.
Oh, very serious. But her theories were controversial. She believed ancient pagan cults had survived in secret into the modern day. And she saw Bella's murder as a prime example.
A human sacrifice.
A ritual sacrifice, yes. She pointed to that scattered right hand as her key piece of evidence.
The hand of glory.
The hand of glory. A gruesome artifact from black magic folklore, supposedly the severed hand of a hanged man, used by thieves to paralyze their victims. Murray argued Bella's hand was taken for a similar ritual purpose.
It's a terrifying thought. And she even tried to link it to another murder, didn't she?
She did. The murder of Charles Walton in 1945, a man found pinned to the ground with a pitchfork. She saw a pattern of occult killings in the English countryside.
But what did the actual forensics say? We talk about Professor Webster's conclusion.
And that's where the theory falls apart. Webster was clear. The hand was scavenged by animals. There were no clean cuts, no signs of ritual removal. The scientific evidence just doesn't support the witchcraft angle at all.
So it's a compelling story, but it's not based in fact.
Exactly. It's a narrative built on misinterpreting the evidence.
Okay, so if we move away from the supernatural, what's next? There's a theory that's much more mundane in a way, almost accidental.
You're talking about the Una Mossop confession. This came to light much later, in 1953.
A woman writes a letter to a newspaper.
Yes. She claims her ex-husband, a man named Jack Mossop, confessed to her before he died.
What was his story?
According to Una, Jack and a friend, a Dutchman named Van Ralt, had been drinking at a local pub with a woman, also Dutch. The woman got very drunk and passed out in their car.
Hey.
And they decided, as a cruel prank, to teach her a lesson, to scare her sober. So they put her inside the hollow wych elm.
If you just left her there, thinking she'd wake up and climb out.
That was the story. It sounds insane, but it neatly explains one of Webster's key findings.
And the body was placed in the tree while still warm.
Precisely. If she was alive but unconscious, her body would have been pliable. They could have easily put her inside. The suffocation could have happened accidentally in the tight space, or maybe they gagged her as part of the prank.
There's another detail that makes this story feel credible. The fate of Jack Mossop himself.
Right. He died at a mental hospital before Bella's body was even discovered. And Una claimed he'd been tormented by recurring nightmares.
Nightmares of what?
Of a woman's face staring at him from inside a tree. It suggests a profound sense of guilt.
So this theory feels very plausible. But what's the problem with it?
The timing. Una Mossop waited over 10 years after Jack's death to come forward. Her story is completely unverified. It's hearsay. We can never know if Jack really said it or if she made it up.
It fits the facts, but it can't be proven.
Exactly. It remains one of the most compelling but ultimately unprovable theories.
Which brings us to the most glamorous and for a long time the most popular explanation. Espionage.
The spy theory. In wartime Britain, everyone was a potential spy. This story starts with a real German agent, Joseph Jacobs, who was executed in 1941.
And when he was captured, he had a photograph on him.
A photo of his lover, a German cabaret singer named Clara Bauerle. Jacobs told his interrogators that she was also a trained spy and that her mission was to parachute into the Midlands.
The same area where Bella was found.
The exact same area. The story took hold that Bella was Clara Bauerle, killed by her own spy ring or by British intelligence and hidden in the tree.
It's a Hollywood movie plot. But does it stand up to scrutiny?
Not at all. And this is where modern research has been so important. There are two huge fatal flaws in the Clara Bauerle theory.
What's the first one?
A simple forensic fact. Clara Bauerle was described by people who knew her as being very tall, around 6 feet.
And Bella's skeleton was 5 feet tall.
A whole foot shorter. It's a physical impossibility.
Okay, that's pretty definitive. What's the second flaw?
This one is the final nail in the coffin. In 2016, a researcher actually found Clara Bauerle's official death certificate in Germany.
And
It shows that she died in a Berlin hospital in December of 1942.
But Webster estimated Bella died in late 1941.
Right. Clara Bauerle died more than a year after Bella was already in that tree. So Bella cannot have been Clara Bauerle. The theory is completely 100% debunked.
Yet the spy idea persisted. Una Mossop, the same woman from the drunken prank story, she had another version, right?
She did. She also suggested the victim was a Dutch woman named Clarabella Dronkers, who was part of a local spy ring and was killed for knowing too much. But again, there's zero evidence to support this. No records of a Clarabella Dronkers have ever been found.
So if we strip away the witchcraft and the espionage, what are we left with?
We're left with something much simpler and much sadder. There's a police report from 1944 that mentions a missing person.
Oh.
A local sex worker from the Hagley Road area of Birmingham who went by the name Bella. and she vanished right around late 1941.
It's the most straightforward explanation for the name in the graffiti.
It is. The graffiti writer might have been a client or a friend, someone who knew her by her working name but didn't know her real identity. She was part of a transient, marginalized community, the kind of person who could disappear during the war without anyone in authority noticing for a long, long time.
So the most likely solution is a simple, brutal murder of a local woman with no spies or witches involved at all.
It's the most plausible scenario, even if it remains, like everything else, unproven.
We've gone through the facts, the theories, but now we have to talk about the single most tragic part of this story. The reason can probably never be solved: the institutional failure.
This is the real catastrophe of the case. The evidence itself, the physical truth, was lost.
What happened to the skeleton?
After the initial investigation, the remains were kept by the Birmingham City Police. They were stored at their training center, Tally Ho, in what they called their Black Museum.
A collection of crime scene artifacts for training new officers.
Yes. And sometime in the late 1960s or early 1970s, the skeleton simply disappeared.
Disappeared. How do you lose an entire human skeleton?
The records are terrible. It was likely lost during a clear-out or an office move. Maybe it was improperly discarded or even taken as a morbid souvenir. No one knows for sure. But the end result is the same. It's gone.
And the consequence of that loss is devastating for the case today.
It's absolute. Without the bones, there can be no DNA analysis. We could never trace her ancestry, find living relatives, or confirm her identity. That possibility was destroyed by negligence.
And it's not just the skeleton, is it?
No. The original tree was cut down during the investigation in 1943, and sources suggest that even Professor Webster's original detailed autopsy report is missing from the archives.
So everything. The body, the crime scene, the primary report. It's all gone.
All we have are photographs and Webster's conclusions. It's a case built on ghosts of evidence.
But even with that loss, people have tried to bring Bella's identity back from the brink. In 2018, there was a major effort to give her a face.
Yes, a facial reconstruction. It was commissioned by authors Alex and Pete Merrill. They worked with Professor Caroline Wilkinson at the Face Lab in Liverpool.
But how could they reconstruct her face without the skull?
That's what made it so remarkable. They had to work from the archival 2D photographs of the skull that were taken back in 1943.
From flat photos, that sounds incredibly difficult.
It is. They used anatomical landmarks you could see in the pictures to estimate the shape of her jaw, her nose, her soft tissue depth, and of course they made sure to accurately model her most distinctive feature.
Her protruding teeth.
Her teeth. The result was this incredibly humanizing image. For the first time, Bella wasn't just a skeleton in a story, she was a person, a woman with a face.
Did it lead to an identification?
No. Sadly, no one came forward to recognize her, but it brought the case back into the public eye in a huge way.
And the search for the actual remains hasn't stopped, has it?
No. In 2023, the BBC launched a public appeal asking museums, universities, anyone with an old anatomical collection to check for uncatalogued human remains, hoping Bella's skeleton might turn up somewhere. The hope is still there.
It seems like every generation rediscovers this case and tries to solve it. Why do you think it has such an enduring hold on us?
Because her anonymity makes her a blank slate. She can be anyone. She's not just a true crime victim. She's become a figure of folklore. Her story has inspired operas, plays, novels.
The graffiti is almost like a monument.
It is. The killer's goal was to erase her, to make her disappear without a trace. And ironically, the public's refusal to forget, that simple question scrolled in chalk, has made her immortal.
So after all this time, if you had to strip everything away and just look at the core evidence, what's the most likely truth?
The most likely truth is a local crime. A woman, probably named Bella, was killed in late 1941 by someone she knew. Someone who knew the woods well enough to hide her body with terrifying speed and efficiency.
Not a spy. Not a witch.
No. Whether it was the drunken prank that went horribly wrong, as Jack Mossop's story suggests, or the murder of a sex worker from Hagley Road, it was almost certainly a personal, grounded, and deeply tragic murder.
A truth that was lost forever, not by the killer's genius, but by the carelessness of the institutions that were supposed to preserve it.
That is the final heartbreaking verdict on this case. It remains unsolved and likely unsolvable because the evidence was allowed to vanish. Bella remains a ghost, defined only by a question.
Don't forget to follow Whiskers of Crime on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, iHeartRadio, Spreaker, and other podcast platforms for daily updates on every crime. And subscribe to our YouTube channel, Whispers of Crime. Like, share this episode with others who might have information about this case, and help. Also, comment your suggestions below. Drop your positive review and rating.
If you have any verifiable, actionable information regarding the Hagley Wood murder, please contact the West Mercia Constabulary directly.
Until then, we leave you with this provocative thought. The killer wanted Bella to be lost to history, but the graffiti, the folklore, and the enduring mystery have ensured she is one of the most famous, forgotten women in British history. We will continue to seek her name.